It starts quietly. One night you find yourself staring at the red glow of your alarm clock at 3:41 a.m., wide awake and restless. You turn your pillow. You roll to your other side, but the minutes stretch into hours. By sunrise, you're exhausted, irritable, and drained again. At first, you brush it off. Just a bad night, you whisper. But then it happens again and again. What you might not realize is that this isn't just an inconvenience. For many older women, waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. isn't random, it's a warning signal. A warning your body is sending, one that's often misunderstood or ignored. Because in a world obsessed with youth and productivity, the unique physiological and emotional changes women experience as they age are swept under the rug. The result, millions of older women are quietly suffering through nights of fragmented sleep, unknowingly putting their physical and emotional well-being at risk. And the worst part is most solutions offered are either superficial or counterproductive temporary fixes that never address the root causes. This article is not about sleep tips or tricks. It is a wake-up call of a different kind. We're going to unpack what these early morning awakenings really mean, why they happen, and more importantly, what you can do about them effectively, intelligently, and with long-lasting impact. Drawing from clinical insights, senior wellness strategies, and the lived experiences of real women, this guide reveals 5 essential actions you must take when you find yourself awake in the quiet hours of the night. These 5 strategies have the power to not only restore your sleep, but also heal your body, soothe your mind, and reconnect you to a more peaceful relationship with aging. This is not about giving in to insomnia. It's about taking back control. Starting now. 1. Stop trying to sleep. Start listening to what your body is saying. The instinct is automatic. When you wake up at 3:12 a.m., your immediate reaction is to force yourself back to sleep. You shut your eyes tightly, hold your breath, and try to recreate the comfort of unconsciousness. But the truth is this: the more you force sleep, the more it escapes you. As women age, especially post-menopause, the body's hormonal architecture changes drastically. Levels of melatonin, the sleep hormone, naturally decline. Cortisol, the stress hormone, becomes more erratic. Trying to sleep while cortisol levels are rising is like trying to drive a car while slamming on the brakes. The very effort becomes the problem. Instead of engaging in a futile battle with your biology, the solution begins with surrender, not to the wakefulness itself, but to the moment. The act of sitting up, changing your posture, and slowing your breath can interrupt the stress loop that amplifies wakefulness. Studies from Harvard Medical School have shown that engaging in intentional breathwork, such as inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 2, and exhaling for 6, can decrease sympathetic nervous system activity and lower heart rate variability, making it easier to transition back into rest. One patient I worked with, Marianne, a 69-year-old widow who had not slept through the night in over 3 years, began implementing this exact approach. Rather than lying frozen in bed, she would sit up slowly, breathe deeply, and remind herself that she wasn't broken, just awake. Within weeks, she noticed that even when she didn't fall back asleep, immediately her mornings were less groggy and her anxiety diminished. The difference was not magic. It was mindset. Changing your relationship with wakefulness is the first most crucial shift. You don't have to be unconscious to be at peace. You just have to stop panicking and start listening. 2. Rehydrate with intelligence. Because dehydration is sneakier than you think. The second step is deceptively simple, but often mishandled. When you wake up feeling dry-mouthed, overheated, or strangely restless, it's often due to dehydration. But this isn't the dramatic desert-like thirst we imagine. It's subtler, and it affects older women disproportionately. As we age, our thirst perception diminishes. The body loses water more rapidly overnight due to increased respiratory loss and reduced renal function. According to a study from the National Institutes of Health, nearly 37% of adults over 60 experience chronic low-grade dehydration, which is a known contributor to poor sleep quality, muscle cramps, and increased nighttime wakefulness. But not all hydration is created equal. Gulping a large glass of cold water in the middle of the night can shock the digestive system, elevate alertness, and further disrupt your rest. What the body needs in that moment is not quantity, it's quality. Room temperature or slightly warm water, ideally infused with a few grains of unrefined sea salt, or a splash of lemon, delivers hydration more efficiently by restoring electrolyte balance. This prevents further fluid loss and supports muscle and nerve function, critical for women prone to night cramps or restless legs. I recall one case where Helen, a 74-year-old retired librarian, had been taking sleep medication for years with little success. When we adjusted her evening hydration protocol, introducing a warm, mineral-enriched drink at bedtime and keeping a small thermos beside her, her nighttime wake-ups dropped by more than half in just 6 weeks. Her mood improved. Her blood pressure stabilized. She was, in her words, resting like I haven't in decades. Sometimes the solution isn't adding something new, but correcting something that was quietly wrong. Intelligent hydration is one of the most overlooked yet most powerful tools in senior sleep health. 3. Wakefulness may be emotional. And that's where healing begins. Not every 3 a.m. wake-up is physical. In fact, many are deeply emotional. You wake up not with a jolt, but with a heaviness in your chest, a swirl of unspoken sadness, or anxiety that has no name. It's not uncommon, but it is often misunderstood. In traditional Chinese medicine, the lungs are said to be most active between 3:00 and 5:00 a.m. These organs, symbolically and physiologically, are associated with grief. And whether you believe in ancient energy cycles or not, there is growing scientific evidence that stress trauma and emotional suppression manifest in the body, especially during sleep. A landmark study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that unresolved emotional tension significantly increased early morning awakenings in women over 60. More importantly, the act of journaling, simply externalizing thoughts, was shown to reduce the recurrence of these wake-ups by over 28%. When you wake up in the dark and feel emotional discomfort, resist the urge to suppress it. Instead, acknowledge it. Sit up. Reach for a notebook you've prepared for this exact purpose. Write down 3 thoughts. They don't have to be coherent or important. The act is not about content, it's about release. Jane, a former caregiver and now a resident at a senior wellness center, told me about her transformation. Every night I'd wake up thinking about my husband, who passed away 10 years ago. Just little memories. I used to push them away, afraid they'd keep me up. But now I write them down. 1 sentence, sometimes 2. I thank the memory and then I breathe. And most nights I fall back asleep with a calmer heart. Emotions are not interruptions to be erased. They are messages to be heard. And when you start giving them space, your mind starts giving you rest. 4. Reset the body with gentle movement, not force. Sometimes the problem isn't in your mind or even your hydration. It's in your muscles. Stiff, tight, restless. And if you've ever spent 20 minutes turning from one side to another, twisting sheets and sighing with frustration. You've experienced this firsthand. After the age of 60, muscle elasticity decreases and circulation slows. Long periods of inactivity like nighttime sleep cause the body to stiffen. The solution is not to force sleep through stillness, but to gently reset the body through movement. Clinical evidence from the University of Pittsburgh Sleep and Circadian Research Center suggests that light stretching or dynamic movement prior to returning to bed can reduce time to sleep onset by 25% in older adults with insomnia symptoms. The key is minimal stimulation, rhythmic breathing, and targeted motion. Try this sequence while sitting on the edge of your bed. Roll your shoulders slowly. Drop your head forward and then tilt gently side to side. Bring your arms overhead, stretch gently, and then release. If lying down, bring one knee across your body and twist softly. Finally, lift and shake out each leg for 10 seconds. These micro movements stimulate circulation ease, muscular tension, and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, priming the body for rest. If your feet or hands feel cold, warm them manually. Friction-based warming not only improves circulation, but also assists in lowering core temperature, an essential shift required for sleep initiation. The principle is simple. Your body is not your enemy. It's asking to be heard, to be moved, to be nurtured. When you offer it movement, it often offers you peace. 5. Use sound to quiet the mind. Because thought spirals can be redirected. There are nights when it's not your muscles' hydration or even emotions keeping you awake. It's your mind alive, alert, relentless. You're replaying conversations from decades ago, worrying about your next doctor's appointment, or mentally reorganizing your pantry. It feels impossible to stop. But here's the truth. Your brain isn't broken. It's overstimulated. And the key isn't to silence it, but to redirect it. Cognitive hyperarousal is one of the most documented causes of insomnia in older adults. A meta-analysis published in Sleep Medicine Reviews found that older women were particularly prone to nocturnal rumination, with nearly 63% reporting that their mind becomes more active the moment they wake in the early morning hours. What's needed in those moments is not effort, but rhythm. Sound, when used with intention, can serve as a gentle guide for the brain. Pink noise, for instance, is a softer, more balanced alternative to white noise. It mimics natural environments like rainfall, wind through trees, or distant ocean waves. Unlike white noise, which delivers all frequencies at equal intensity and can feel sharp or jarring, pink noise filters out higher frequencies, promoting a sense of calm and depth. Research from Northwestern University demonstrated that exposure to pink noise not only improves sleep depth, but also enhances memory consolidation in older adults. But pink noise is just one option. Guided meditations, especially those using body scan techniques or progressive muscle relaxation, help the brain move from analytical mode into sensory awareness. This works by giving your mind a task so simple and repetitive that it slowly disengages from its spiral. Even 5 minutes of listening can act as a neurological bridge between anxiety and rest. Then there's the power of spoken word. Audiobooks with slow, monotone narration covering neutral, non-stimulating topics like gardening history or nature writing can lull the brain into a relaxed state. These voices become background patterns for the mind to follow, subtly replacing chaotic thoughts with narrative structure and eventually silence. One of my clients, Ruth, age 76, was initially skeptical of this strategy. She had always relied on silence to sleep. But after months of chronic wake-ups, she agreed to try a simple audio track, the sound of waves paired with a soft, meditative narration about tree growth patterns. Within 3 days, she fell asleep during the recording. Within 2 weeks, she was no longer waking up anxious. "It's like giving my brain a bedtime story," she later told me. Not to entertain it, but to quiet it. The right sound at the right volume used with intention, not distraction, can turn even the most chaotic mental marathon into a gentle descent into peace. Real-life case. How Margaret transformed her nights. To understand how these 5 principles can come together, let me share the journey of Margaret, a 71-year-old former teacher and grandmother of 5. For more than 10 years, Margaret lived with the exhausting cycle of waking up at 3 or 4 a.m., feeling helpless and dreading the long hours before sunrise. She tried everything: over-the-counter pills, dietary changes, blackout curtains, but nothing stuck. Her sleep was fragmented, her energy was depleted, and her emotional resilience was wearing thin. When we first met, I asked her not to fix her nights, but to observe them. We introduced one new habit each week. In the first week, she learned to sit up and breathe instead of forcing sleep. In the second, she sipped warm lemon water with a pinch of salt. In the third, she began writing down her midnight thoughts. By the fourth, she was stretching gently before returning to bed. And finally, she added a 5-minute audio meditation to her nightly routine. The change didn't happen overnight, but by the 7th week, she reported something profound. "I still wake up," she said, "but now I know what to do. I'm not afraid of the night anymore." Her sleep became more consistent, her anxiety dropped, and her days felt more centered. Margaret hadn't eliminated the wake-ups, but she had reclaimed her power within them. Her story is not unique. It is possible to reframe night awakenings, not as threats, but as signals. Not as disruptions, but as invitations. Conclusion: reclaiming the night in your power. There's a myth we've all been told that sleep must be perfect, uninterrupted, and automatic to be healthy. But this myth is not only false, it's harmful, especially for older women navigating the complex terrain of aging bodies, shifting hormones, and emotional histories. The expectation of flawless sleep becomes another form of self-blame. Waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not a defect. It is a form of communication. And when we begin to listen rather than resist, we uncover opportunities for profound healing. Let's recap the 5 transformative steps. First, let go of the need to force sleep. Sit up, breathe, and reclaim your moment without panic. Sleep is not something to chase, it's something that returns when we make space for it. Second, hydrate with intention. A small sip of warm water with electrolytes or calming herbs like chamomile can soothe the body from the inside out, addressing one of the most silent but potent sleep disruptors in older adults. Third, explore your emotional undercurrent. Your wakefulness may not be physical at all. It might be your mind's gentle nudge to process a long-held emotion. Through journaling, mindful breathing, or even whispered affirmations, you can release what needs to be heard without carrying it until dawn. Fourth, reset your body with gentle movement. You don't need to lie in stillness while your legs twitch or your back stiffens. By moving lightly, neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, forward folds, you allow your nervous system to shift from alertness to rest. And fifth, let sound become your nighttime ally. Pink noise, calming voices, and quiet audiobooks can all serve as gentle anchors that keep your mind from drifting into worry and guide it back to the rhythm of rest. These are not gimmicks. They are intentional, evidence-informed, and compassionate responses to a real, persistent issue affecting millions of women. And when practiced consistently, they don't just help you sleep, they help you heal. As a senior care professional, I have watched countless women rediscover trust in their own bodies and find peace where there was once only frustration. The night is not something to fear. It is a space quiet, intimate, and wise where we are offered the chance to care for ourselves in ways daylight often rushes past. So the next time you wake in those early hours, I urge you not to reach for your phone or for panic. Reach inward, listen, respond with kindness, wisdom, and presence. Your body is speaking, your mind is listening, and rest is closer than you think. If you found this article helpful, please consider subscribing to the Longevity Secret YouTube channel. We're dedicated to providing compassionate, science-backed insights for older adults who want to live well, age vibrantly, and rest deeply. Your support allows us to continue creating content that empowers, educates, and uplifts. Like, share, and join our growing community of women reclaiming their nights in their lives.